All right, what is up, Swing Trader Snacks here, and we're going to go through and do our weekend review. Take a look at the end of the week last week, and we had a big news day on Friday, but we're going to take a look at the markets and see what we like going into the week and some setups we are looking to possibly enter. So real quick, let's look at the markets here. Powell spoke in Jackson Hole on Friday morning, and we had a very positive reaction to it. We were hoping he wasn't too hawkish, or hawkish at all, really. But he was not. He was very, very dovish, and he is seemingly open to a rate cut in September, and it does seem that that is coming. So the market reacted very well to this news, and we see some stuff here that we really like, right? So we've got the RSP here finally breaking out to all-time highs where it was lagging just a bit on the SPY. SPY has been in the all-time high range here for a couple months now, and to see the equally weighted finally make that move as well is a good sign for market breadth. And then also we've got IWM breaking out of the range was really back here, but it did break out of the range, pulled back, and pretty much had a triple R set up here. Anyways, it's breaking out and looking like it may want to also test all-time high levels, and small caps would be a very positive move for some of the momentum and growth names that would really get those going. So real quick before we jump into the names that we like, I want to review something here. I'm seeing a lot of I'm not surprised, but just still seeing bear talk all over the internet, and everyone's saying that this is a huge fake out and all this stuff, right? You've got this text here, he's highlighting some Fed cuts, and so I just had to have this post here that for me, this is the real data, right? Look at what happens after Fed cuts the year following, right? When the Fed cuts at all-time highs, which it looks like it's going to do here again. It's 20 for 20 for being higher, a year later, and most of them, even the next month, you can see on average, we are higher following rate cuts at all-time highs, okay? So try to ignore the noise, right? We will obviously be paying attention to market breadth through this entire move, heading into the rate cut announcement, likely rate cut announcement in September. Look, I expect, if I have to guess, I expect to move up into it, a sell the news event, and then another push higher afterwards. That's what I'm expecting. We will have to just adjust and see what happens. But look, guys, we're in a bull market, okay? People are clearly positioning, and even look at the stocks over their 50-day moving average had a big gap up as well. So look, a lot of great breadth out there. We are looking for opportunities to the long side. So let's look at some stocks that are setting up. Real quick before we jump into it, I'm not going to be too aggressive coming off of the Ripper on Friday, off of the positive reaction to Powell, but I am looking to enter some positions this week, but I'm not going to go all in on Monday, right? We want to see how things react Monday, Tuesday, and just make sure that this is going to be a sustained move, right? And not just kind of a pop and a pullback. A pop and a pullback would be okay as long as we held levels, right? The recent swing low would be very bullish. But sometimes when you have such a big reaction to a news, the following days you can see a pullback and then additional positioning, and then we will push higher. Okay, the market doesn't go straight up. You get a lot of volatility around big events like this, and if it does pull back a bit on Monday and Tuesday, we don't want to be overexposed to that and get stopped out when it does really seem that we're going to get a push here for the next few weeks. I think that's likely. So we'll be careful, maybe enter one on Monday, but through the week, we'll look to position. I'm wide open to 3-4 positions on a week, possibly. So I am at about 20% exposure right now. I'm willing to go up to 60 in an A environment, in an A market environment, and I think we might enter that sort of environment this week if we see follow through. So I like Oklo. All right, a lot of these are going to look the same. We're going to go through the triple R setups first. Okay, this is a big list, so maybe watch a couple and hang out with me another day, or the reason I like to do a big list like this, though I would only enter a couple, I'm trying to help you guys see these leaders, these trending stocks and strong companies making a retracement, clearly having reactions at or around our levels, showing you again how significant these levels can be, and then remounting our short-term level, the 9 EMA, would be our entry trigger. And so many of these are just below that, or it just happened on Friday, and we'll look to see how they open this week. Oklo, Beautiful move, close right at about the 9. A push even maybe above highs on Monday would be interesting. Same sector here, CCJ, again, kind of same setup, all right? So if we get a bit of a soft open on Monday, then we would look for maybe a red to green type move on something like that, and we've got great risk reward. And net is one I'm quite interested in getting into. It's not quite broken the 9 yet, so we'll be looking for that to happen. And I've said this many times recently, but we've got all-time highs above. Okay, we've got a recent high and an all-time high above, so probably going to be a magnet sort of move to that area. If we can get back over the 9, this is very interesting to me. Dash, exact same scenario. Okay, we've got recent high just above, all-time high above that. We've got an IPO cycle, a lot going on here, a really, really beautiful chart, one that respects structure. We trade Dash all the time for the triple R setup, and we are likely to get another trigger this week that will get me in. I like Dash a lot. Hood, same scenario, okay? Exact same thing I just said on Dash. VST, over the 9, over the 50 and the 9 would also have all-time high, prior all-time high above with all-time highs slightly above that. Good setups, guys, good setups. VRT looks very similar. We've got all-time highs here to the left that we're looking to get pulled up towards. Back over the 50 and the 9 is a trigger. Meta is another beautiful look. Okay, we've got a big pullback. The macro, right? That's what pretty much everything looks like after the last week or so. Macro environment had a pullback we were looking for, we were hoping for. This gives us our setups. Back over the 9, Meta is attractive. INQ is in the quantum computing sector, which still, it's holding up, guys. I know a lot of people don't believe in this sector. They don't believe in the fundamentals backing these companies, but at the end of the day, we have another report here where they're holding up, and we are getting a reaction off of our 200. Positive price action over the 50 is a trigger for INQ. And then we've got Rocket Lab, another great look, pullback off the highs, reaction at our level, remount of the 9, absolutely textbook triple R. On Friday was the entry. You know, so we'll see how we act here Monday, Tuesday. If we get a slight pullback, it would re-trigger setups like this. The ones that already triggered on Friday, right? If we get a slight pullback Monday, Tuesday off of the initial rip, right, then it would reset up our entries for ones that maybe we missed. Okay, coin, we're getting a nice reaction here. Again, I like this guy a lot long term. We've got an IPO cycle, box breakout possibly. Oh gosh, we have so much going on here. We've got prior highs and all-time highs up above, gap down reversal, a lot going on here. So back over the 50 is extremely attractive for me on coin for a longer term hold where I would want shares and not options, because I think this is something that above highs, above all-time highs, I think this could get some legs and move for a few years. We've got Carvana triggering on Friday. I mean, beautiful setup. We've got a gap up that pulled back pretty hard, but reacted at around our levels, remounted the short term, and that is a trigger. FSLR is the only solar I'm willing to trade. Deep retracement off of the pop coming off of the legislation news, and we've got a remount of the short term. Good look here. AMD. Semiconductors were quite strong. Everything was strong on Friday, but AMD back over the 9. This thing has been a ripper. All right, this is really our first real pullback. This one was so quick, but this is our first real pullback reaction at or around our level and a remount of the 9. This is a strong one we would like to get into. MP, another hot sector. This is precious metals. Look, this thing has been ripping off of the legislation news that came out, the contracts legislation. America's looking to be more self-reliant on precious metals, and this is a company involved in making that happen. We're getting a nice pullback. A remount of our short term is a trigger on the triple R setup. And CLS, another great look here. Guys, I mean, this is what we're looking for. Trending stocks backed by strong fundamentals. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, trending stocks of good companies backed by strong fundamentals, giving us a retracement, a reaction at or around our level, and a remount of our short-term moving average is the trigger. And BZH is another great look here for housing. Housing is strong, okay? A lot of talk on Friday about the housing sector, and frankly, the supply in housing is low, so a lot of builders are being speculated on to have a good quarter, a good year, a good few years, right, housing is strong. Okay, so we want to be looking at this. I've got a list here of a bunch of housing stocks, but if you need to, just go into Nail and look at the holdings of it, and you can do that by clicking into it. This works on all charting platforms. All right, and then go to holdings, go through this, click through, and check out the ones you like, or just copy my list here. Okay, you can pause the video and do so if you'd like. And then we have got eBay. All right, I'm just a little upset about missing this move on eBay. Look at how many triple R's it gave us. It's just, you know, you got a big cup and handle here. This was a good move that we missed. But anyways, it seems to be on trend and moving, and we want to be watching this. Okay, it's not exactly a triple R. This is more of a flag breakout. Not something I like to trade as much anymore. You get a lot of shakeouts, fakeouts on those things. But look, good action on eBay. Good action, worth watching. We will keep it around. MU, a lot like AMD. All right, we're getting a reaction at around our levels. A remount and a test of recent highs would be your magnet. Okay, would be where you're aiming for. And if you want to hold a bit longer term, you could possibly play for a break through the area. Bros, we've been looking for strength on. We're getting it off of the 200, remount of the 50, trigger, trigger, trigger. Look at all that good volume. Trigger, okay. Roblox, I like Roblox technically, but there is some pending news, or there was a news matter last week, something to do with like predatory stuff on the site. You know, it's a children's game. I don't know a ton about what Roblox is, but it's some sort of game that a lot of kids are on, and there was some predatory news that came out, and that is what gave this gap down. But it's risky. I would not go full size on this, but we were getting possibly, you know, we get the retracement, reaction at around our level, or remount, so we're getting our triple R possibly, and then also a gap down reversal play, and those are very strong. If they can fill the gap and get back on trend, I think we will break all-time highs if we can keep from getting more negative news on this. And Microsoft, just another look at a triple R. Look, strong trending stock of a good company, backed by growing fundamentals, retracement, reaction at or under level. A remount is a trigger on Microsoft as well. And then I will pull over our peg play charts, and we've got a few of these we want to be looking at. A-Lab, I nearly took this on Friday, but I will be looking to enter this today on a show of strength. Okay, show of strength today will likely get me into A-Lab. All right, we've got our fixed range volume profile starting on the gap day. We've got our anchored VWAP. All right, the price above both of those things with an upslope anchored VWAP is our trigger for a peg play. Watch those videos on my YouTube channel if you've not seen them yet. Very strong 3-to-1 play that hits at over 70%. All right, TME, same exact scenario. We are testing the two major levels, right? This is the point of control, and the anchored VWAP is a solid combination of showing who's in control, buyers or sellers. Okay, above buyers, sellers below. Got it? And NBIS is another peg play that I like quite a bit. Same deal. All right, we are above the point of the control, and if we get above the anchored VWAP and that begins to slope up today or tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday, that would be a trigger on NBIS, which seems to be one that, well, all of these peg plays, you know, institutions, they were misplaced before the report. They are now building positions, right? That is what the entire setup is built on. All right, HNGE, same deal. A lot of these look exactly the same, guys, over the point of control and the, HNGE. I knew that looked too similar, but it should still look about the same, right? So guys, if this anchored VWAP begins to point up, we are above the point of control, okay? And the anchored VWAP would be a trigger. And then last one is IDXX in the healthcare sector, which has been lagging and showing signs that it wants to get moving. All right, so we will keep an eye on this level. I do now like, when we were looking at it back here, I wanted it to break the 665 level, but if we can get above the point of control and anchored VWAP and it begins to slope up, I like an anticipation, because then you have another like technical catalyst just above there. So if we break through that level, I think we test the high of the range very quickly. So that would, I think, pretty quickly give us our 3-to-1. Let's show what that looks like visually here. Say we get in about there, we would do recent swing low. You know what, I don't even think we would have to go that low, honestly. I would say it needs to hold, right, the point of control and anchored VWAP after making that move, and then right there. I mean, but you got your 3-to-1 off of that move. that, I mean, I think that could happen in a day or two if we get the trigger. And that is it, guys. That's what I'm looking at for the week. Again, like I said, I want to be slightly cautious because we had such a big rip on Friday. A little bit of volatility Monday, Tuesday would be okay. A small controlled low volume pullback would be healthy, and we would look to enter more through the end of the week. But I'm open to one, maybe two if we're very strong on Monday. All right, that's what we're watching for the week to come. And guys, boot camp starts in 8 days, and this is my pilot. So look, I'm charging $250. It's nearly free, but I do need that monetary commitment. So you will show up, because if you show up, I can help you. I will teach you everything I've learned in the last decade and all of these setups, trader psych, everything you need to build an edge in this market that you can leverage for the rest of your life. Guys, I'll lean over your shoulder. I will coach you through everything. You'll be able to ask me anything, live sessions, all of it, okay? It's an incredible deal, and in my opinion, it's what you really do need if you're struggling in these markets, right? Call rooms don't work, okay? Gurus don't work. The Lambo boys don't work, right? You need a process, and you need somebody to shove your face in it and make you stick to it. And that's what I will do for 60 days and turn you into a self-reliant trader with an edge you can leverage for the rest of your life. So I'd love to have you join me. And guys, I'll see you this week. Let's go make some freaking money. Cool.